Hello exiles, welcome to my POE2 Ren Druid build guide. First of all, why should you play this build? It has great single target, combined with insane AOE clear. CI with ES and ES Leech gives us a lot of tankiness. So what makes this build so powerful? I'll be going over the main interactions. Let's start with Rage. We currently have 52 max Rage, which gives us 52% more attack damage baseline. I'm also using the Crown of Eyes unique helmet to turn increased spell damage into attack damage. If you combine this with Mystical Rage on the tree, you get another 104% increased attack damage. These effects also get scaled by Berserk. Since Rend has very slow attack speed from the beginning, we need to get a lot of attack speed and skill speed on our gear and the tree. This is why I'm using the Fungal Talisman for the highest base attack speed. I'm also using a Scepter in my offhand with the Lord of the Wild's Keystone. This makes fitting all auras in very difficult, but in my opinion it is worth it. On the Scepter we have High Spirit and 3 sockets. Each of these has the increased skill speed while shape-shifted bonded modifier from the Shaman Ascendancy, which equates to 30% increased skill speed. This is also why I'm using the Sacred Flow Ascendancy with 3 empty charms to match the spirit requirement. Instead of a High Spirit Scepter with 3 sockets, you can also use one with only 2 sockets or get some spirit on your amulet. To sustain the energy shield in maps I'm using the Essentia Sandwich gloves with the Life Leech 3 support gem. If you don't have Headhunter, you can also use the Soul Tether belt with the Corrupted modifier that removes ES loss per second. This belt also gives us Overleech, which doesn't work with the Essentia Sandwich gloves. Let's start off with the skill gems. I'm using Rend with Magnified Area 2 for bigger AOE coverage, Rapid Attacks for attack speed, Rage 3 for better rage sustain and some attack speed, Life Leech 3, and Ridwald's Ferocity. Very important, I'm using the Talisman in Weapon Set 2 to get 30% more damage from Ridwald's Ferocity. The 10% reduced attack speed is negligible. Oil Barrage I'm using with Rapid Attacks 2, Burgeon 2, Concentrated Area, Elemental Armament 2, and Rage Forge 2. For that nice AOE clear, I'm using Herald of Thunder and Herald of Ash, both with Magnified Area 2 and some generic damage links. As already mentioned, Berserk is a huge multiplier to our damage. For Devour, I only have Charge Profusion 2. Pounce I have linked with Culmination 2, Aelith Chimes, Charge Profusion 2, and Rapid Attacks 3. Wing Blast is only for when I get stuck in a wall, or if I want to heavy stun a boss. For the passive tree, there are many different versions. My current version makes me chill immune and has a focus on some max rage, skill speed, and AOE scaling. I only really recommend this tree once you have a lot of damage and ideally are using Headhunter. I have some other trees on my Mobalytics page, one of them being a pre-CI version. If you want to go CI, you need at least 5k plus ES Leech, so either Essentia Sandwich gloves or Soul Tether belt. And I'd recommend being level 85 plus since it costs a lot of points to travel to CI. I have this nice controlled metamorphosis, which allows me to take Tribal Fury for better AOE coverage and Primal Growth for even more AOE. I'm also using a From Nothing Diamond for Volpact, which allows me to get a bunch of movement speed and reduced slowing potency of debuffs. Speed is the most important thing in the game. Let's go over the gear. For the weapon, we want a High Fizz Fungal Talisman, ideally with +5 to all melee skills. This weapon is very simple to craft. Check out the bow crafting video from XTheFarmers. It works basically the same, just on a different base. As already mentioned, I'm using the Crown of Eyes unique helmet. For the body armor, you want high ES and flat life regen to offset the % life loss of Berserk, the boot socket, and the Soul Tether belt. For rings, you just want high resistance, with ideally flat damage of any type. For the amulet, +3 to all melee skills, increased max ES, flat max ES, and maybe spirit if you need it. You can also go for +2 to all melee skills as a cheap alternative. Boots with high movement speed, increased effect of socketed items, and ideally 3 sockets, but these are expensive. You want 3 sockets because it gives you some nice utility. And for the Scepter, as already mentioned, 3 sockets with high spirit. I got pretty lucky with mine. I will go over a relatively cheap way to make these scepters in a second and show how I also made mine. For the belt, I'm using Headhunter. Buy these bases of trade. Ideally without these auras and 2 sockets. They are 15 to 20x each. Then we use Perfect August and Trans and hope we hit high tier of spirit. It's about a 1 in 12. If you didn't hit spirit, you can just alchemy orb them for another chance on different prefixes. As you can see, we got a few with increased spirit. I also use exalted orbs for another chance on percent or hybrid spirit. Now we corrupt and hope to hit a 3rd socket. In my opinion, using an Omen of Corruption is not worth it here, except if you get a lot of spirit on one of your bases. We didn't hit, so let's try 2 more. As you can see, we hit 1, but with relatively low spirit. They are still worth about 2 divine, but if you get lucky they are worth a lot more. That's it from my Wyvern Shaman Druid build guide. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good league.